Hello once again, everyone. This is Goldash, CEO of the URWL, and I thank you for tuning in. We here at the URWL are about to unveil a new feature designed to change the way you watch our show. Welcome to the inaugural edition of the URWL Roughness Rankings. Let's break down the basics behind the Roughness Rankings interface. If a wrestler's ranking is contained in a green box, he or she increased in rank from the previous survey. By the way, if you haven't already seen it, the previous rankings from after Road to Rebirth are on the roster discussion subforum of the URWL rant board. On the other hand, if a wrestler drops in rank from the previous show, a red box will encase the number. Like our previous power rankings, the roughness rankings aren't only based on wins and losses, but by a variety of factors, including viewer reaction, show involvement, contenderships, and streaks. Finally, a red cross or a red X denotes whether a wrestler is injured or suspended, respectively. Without further ado, let's move on to our singles rank, starting from the bottom and moving our way up to the top. Well, as you can see, the bottom of the rankings usually provides a wide barometer of wrestlers who are either struggling or just starting their careers, and this list is no exception. Let's start off here with number 23, Chimera. Yes, you heard that right, not Chimera or Chimera, as we may say out west here. Anyway, regardless of his pronunciation, he looks to make a gigantic impact on the first episode of URWL HighStakes in the Ka era. And if he wins, he will be able to fight for the number one contendership of the High Flyer title against Victor Cordaro in the first episode of URWL Rush. Number 22 is our highlighted wrestler of the bunch, and he made a gigantic impact himself. Returning at Unrivaled Ambition, Spectre made a big statement, sending undefeated Russian champion Alexander Kuleshov through a ringside table with a chokeslam. Spectre at HighStakes faces fellow URWL original, so to speak, Blood. Increased hype and an injury to Taurus lands Rally Star squarely in the 16th spot here after Unrivaled Ambition. Rally Star may not even have been booked at Unrivaled Ambition. However, his momentum from Road to Rebirth has carried him forward. Taurus, on the other hand, has been injured. A torn ACL is the diagnosis, and it was an injury suffered at an independent booking in Mexico for the independent Lucha Libre promotion, Voladores del Ring. Taurus suffered the injury after a botched reversal. However, one man is almost sadistically happy about it, and that's Taurus's rival, Victor Cordaro. As you know, both of these men met in a steel cage at popular demand, and ever since then, Taurus has been looking for a bit of revenge on Victor Cordaro. However, that revenge may have to wait. Scorpion moves up one position at number 15 after an impressive showing in Unrivaled Ambition, while Hog Williker falls to number 14. As you know, Rally Star's opponent in the first match of URWL HighStakes will be the Commander. Commander stays put at number 12. However, that doesn't mask the fact that he's been struggling as of late. 2 straight losses to Alexander Kuleshov, including the match that cost him his North American Championship at popular demand, haven't really sat well with Commander as of late. Can he rebound against the young and inexperienced Rally Star? We will see when HighStakes takes the air. Victor Cordaro moves up one rank from number 14 to number 13, switching spots with Hog Williker, while Shane B. Perkins, look at this, falling 4 spots to number 10 after a very unimpressive showing in Unrivaled Ambition. That includes his sickening sneak attack on Barry White in the parking lot after the show was technically over. And that moment, in my opinion, really sent shockwaves through the URWL. Shane B. Perkins hasn't really shown us that much, but it seems as if he's willing to overtake Barry White by any means necessary. And, well, Shane B. still with that one lone win in Episode 9 against Hog Williker. We'll see what happens in forthcoming events leading up to Discontent 11 if he does, in fact, face Barry White at that event. And also, as you see there, Trent Tail and Blood staying put at 9 and 11, respectively. But that has absolutely nothing to compare against what we're seeing in the 8 to the 4 spot right here. Interrogative, Corey Jones, and Seth Stern all falling, while Fusion moves up an amazing 6 spots to the number 4. He won the number 1 contendership in the first match of Unrivaled Ambition. He had his match with URWL champion Jamie Emo, and a rematch will be set for URWL Discontent 11, or Discontent 12 if we get it out late like we always seem to do, but whatever. The point is, Fusion has made it to the top of the heap here in the URWL, and these rankings show it. Seth Stern, the former number one contender, is undergoing psychiatric evaluations currently at a hospital outside of San Francisco, his hometown. And hopefully, he'll be back on URWL programming with his head straight. And I'm very concerned for this young man's future in this business. Corey Jones, after being eliminated in that four-way elimination match that Fusion eventually won, moves one spot down to number 7. While interrogative, what a story this has become, considering how dominant he once was, but his current loss to Akina is making us all wonder, what is going on with Intero? Lost in the shuffle, it seems, is Barry White, who stays put at number 5 as Internet Champion, but he's looking at one of his most important matches in his career. And just as I said about Barry White, Alexander Kuleshov looks to be poised for his biggest match so far. He is facing an 18-time URWL champion, arguably the greatest wrestler in URWL history, text or cop. If Alexander Kuleshov can somehow beat this legend of the URWL, what would that mean for his career? Still, though, anything can happen. Alexander Kuleshov could be very well on his way to losing his first match. He needs to wrestle a complete match in order to get the win against Barry White. Barry is not going to fall for a one-dimensional attack. Alexander Kuleshov needs to show us that he can wrestle with the best of them in order to defeat Barry White. The number 1 and 2 spots surprisingly remain the same. A lot of controversy has been started over this ranking. Should Akina be number 1? Should Emo be number 2? Or should the roles be the same as they are right now? Well, we'd like to hear your reactions on that on the rant board, on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitter. But as for now, Jamie Emo is still the man in the URWL. The biggest news, however, has to deal with Akina. The current URWL Hardcore Champion has been sidelined indefinitely with a broken leg suffered at the hands of the much smaller Corey Jones. Akina right now is in bad shape and just underwent surgery on that broken tibia of his. All we know is Corey Jones fired the shot heard around the hardcore wrestling world. And you have to believe that not only Akina but Scorpion looks to be hot on Corey's trail after what he did. The URWL women's rankings paint an image of consistency after Unrivaled Ambition, partially due to the lack of women's matches after Road to Rebirth. But that will all change at HighStakes as rookie Iha Suicida and our featured wrestler in the number 3 spot, Kelsey McDonald, look to butt heads for a shot at the number 1 contendership of Cecilia Rincon's Women's Championship against the Cyberpunk on the return of URWL Rush. Look for Kelsey to thrive against the inexperienced Suicida, but don't count the mysterious Luchadora Americana out, because if you saw any part of that women's main event at Road to Rebirth, you are fully aware of what Suicida is truly capable of. Consistency, again, defines the current makeup of the URWL Tag Team Division. Expect a match between bitter rivals EOE and GWN at Discontent. The real telling point in this complete division, aside from the recent retirement and eventual GWF employment of Merle Haggard Jr. that ended the long run of Merle and Hogg, is the officially suspended and unranked status of the conceited criminals known only as the Downfall Syndicate. These thugs, if I may be frank for a second, caused us to pull our title belts from URWL programming. Their admitted thefts are cause for suspension, and the URWL Board of Directors more than happily obliged. So at this stage, you can pretty much expect this group of rogues to never show up in a URWL ring again. I mean, it's fairly simple. In fact, from this point onward, I'm never going to mention their names on URWL programming again. Their crimes against this organization, as seen in another one of their silly video messages at Unrivaled Ambition, they're all the evidence the URWL needs. So good riddance, DFS, and take a seat. Finally, now with our rankings out of the way, let's break down the most compelling stories heading into URWL HighStakes. Rally Star, as I've said before, needs to wrestle a big match against the Commander at HighStakes. But it won't be easy for the URWL rookie, as the former drill instructor from Washington by way of West Point looks to get his slumping career straightened out. Commander definitely has the poise to stop Star's momentum cold. So it'll be important from here on out for the flamboyant London West Ender to channel upset mode once again. Is Rally Star for real? We shall see. Also at HighStakes, as I've said earlier, look for the debuting Spectre and Kimera to make an instant impression on the URWL fanbase. The Japanese sensation Kimera looks to make his debut, while Spectre will return to the ring for the first time since 2003. He'll be squaring off against his old Text-era compatriot Blood. Kimeta hopes to augment the high flyer division with his aerial acrobatics, and also looks to dethrone fellow rookie Darius Gash and Japanese veteran Dark Dragon. Another point of interest in the URWL has to be the slumping careers of Seth Stern, Corey Jones, and Interrogative. With Stern institutionalized, Corey on an unruly rampage of sneak attacks, and Interrogative's intimidation seemingly no longer a factor, a changing of the guard in the URWL seems to be underway. Furthermore, the main event of HighStakes pits internet champion and 18-time URWL champion Barry White against Russian champion and Rookie of the Year Alexander Kuleshov. This will be the second Title 4 title match in URWL history and the first title unification match of the KA era. It's probably safe to say that for the first time in his short career, Kuleshov's 7-match undefeated streak is in serious jeopardy against Barry White. Finally, the URWL, as you may have heard already, is officially part of the biggest KA showcase of the year, Conspiracy. The URWL will officially unveil its matches for this massive event during the series premiere of HighStakes. And while details are minimal at this moment, rest assured, the URWL will have big things in store for the forthcoming inter-promotional event that will air in late December. Make sure to stay tuned to URWL programming as well as official messages from the KA Champions League YouTube page for all the information as it becomes available. Well, that's all for this edition of the URWL Roughness Rankings, everyone. Make sure to interact and react by visiting us on Facebook by searching for URWL KA Wrestling, on Twitter via the handle @URWL Wrestling, one word, and of course on the URWL rant board at urwlrantboard.proboards.com. We'd love to see you there. Once again, this is Goldash. Thank you for joining me on the debut of the URWL Roughness Rankings. The series premiere of URWL HighStakes is just around the corner. Stay tuned.